Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am back.
It's not true.
I'm back. I can talk again. I can't race because I'm getting like serious vertigo things, so I cannot drive a car. But...
I don't understand why patchy skin would be a problem with driving.
That's not vertigo, sir.
Oh, my bad.
And I'm back here for the Enduro Round 3 with me, as always, is Byron Dirksen. You heard him earlier.
Nope, wrong.
And joining me is the man who's been filling in for me a little bit, helping out, Travis Wallace. Say hello to the people, Travis.
Hello to the people.
And, yeah, so we've got a 21-car grid here, although only 17 cars have managed to put up times so far. And, spoiler, the remaining 4 cars do not put up times. Those are the cars of Yevgeny Lazarenko, Martin Lauer, Dennis Meichner, and Jordan Alcolia. I don't know if I'm saying that last one correct. Jordan, if you want to correct me, please go ahead. He is Japanese, but that's not a very Japanese name. I think me and Byron, we can probably vouch for that.
It's more of a Filipino thing.
Yeah, seems like it. But anyways, currently on pole position by almost a second. I don't think I even need to say the name, but I will say the name. It's Mike Stockmill.
He's just all kinds of pretty good at going forward.
Joining him on the front row will be Martin Edmonds, Andy Blade, then it's Jorgen Walby, Fran Machuca, debutant is Ismael Montoya, Dale Smith, pardon me, Eric Friesen, Gerardo Delvea, Richard DeRoche, Ariel Zatoni, John Barker, Sean Kenny, Alex Loeffler, who is a championship contender way down there, James Butler, John Picha, and Pinky Mo. The last 3 of those are actually Academy race car drivers. And of course, Travis Wallace, one of the coaches in the Academy. How has the Academy been going there, Travis?
Very entertaining. And not only entertaining, I've been impressed with a lot of the driving that we've seen so far in the season. They've been doing a great job.
Excellent, excellent. It's good to know that the newer drivers are coming along nicely and will become proud additions to the grid someday. And some of them already are. Gentlemen, your predictions for this race. I'm not going to ask you who you think the winner is going to be. I know what the answer is going to be. You assume that Mike Stockmill will conquer all. Who is your pick for second place?
Dennis Meisner.
Dennis Meisner. Brave call, brave call. Travis?
It's going to be a tough one, man.
You should say Dennis Meisner.
Everybody qualified in the top 5 is, well, 2nd through 5th, was really tightly paced. But you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that Andy Blade is going to pull it off.
Andy Blade. Division 2 Andy Blade.
Is he bribing you now?
Well, we saw him in the Saturday series with a car that at the tracks that were chosen was probably difficult to keep pace, and he did a great job, barring any incidents. So being in equal cars and an equal field, I'm gonna give him the shadow of the doubt.
Dennis Meisner is the 4th eligible Academy driver, by the way. He's down in 19th place at the start, so Byron is being bold with his prediction. And we are off. Heading down to the first corner here at Road America, this fantastic track with the, of course, very famous Canada corner, which I'll be sure to point out to my fellow Canadian Byron when we hit it.
Hooray! I believe the last name of the Japanese feller is Alcolia. Might be Polynesian.
Not sure. Let us know if you have the time there, Jordan.
He'll be known as Jordan the Alcoholic Alcolia.
So off to the start, we got Stockmill leading from Edmonds, Blade, Walby, Machuca, Montoya, Friesen, Smith, DeRoche, and Barker. Co-championship leader Felipe Fejea is absent. So this is a big opportunity for Mr. Martin Edmonds. And
whoa, squirrely. Gone squirrely.
That was Ismael Montoya losing traction, and he will drop to the back of the pack. Fran Machuca making a move there for 4th place over Jorgen Walby.
Hello, my name is Ismael Montoya. You spin my car, prepare to die.
We have, of course, one pit stop expected, though as we saw in the last Enduro race, Wayne Hutchinson going the distance on the tank of gas, it is possible to get to the end of these races without pitting. Travis, as our expert in this regard, do you think anyone will go for that at Road America?
It might be a little hard here. I mean, this is a very wide open track. You're going to have your foot in it a lot. But I mean, I guess if you can use the draft, a lot of drafting here, if you can use that draft to your advantage, you might be able to stretch it out. But somebody like Mike Stoffmill, if you're running by yourself, it's gonna be a challenge because you are on it.
I mean,
the track.
If we can be honest, would Mike Stoffmill really even ponder not doing a pit stop? I mean, would that not just mean he wins by like a lap?
Yeah, he could probably take 2 pit stops and be fine. I haven't seen this race yet, so I don't know, but that would be my prediction.
He's already pulled out over a second on the first lap over the battle for second place between ESR admins Martin Edmonds and Andy Blade.
I predict that they put each other in the hospital.
There's a possibility. Never say no to such a thing. Early on, our big mover so far has been Martin Lauer, who started dead last and has worked his way up into 18th position. Richard DeRoche on the attack against Dale Smith. And the car behind him is Gerardo Del Vea.
I think we should give Dale Smith a shout out as well. He's been absent for a while now, and as far as I know, this might be his first race back in a couple of months, and starting up here in the top 10 and doing a great job to hold on to it.
He was at the last Enduro race. I think it was that he just didn't really like the GT2s, and as a result did not book himself for that particular series. But
Could be, but that's a long time to be away and then jump right back in and not have lost any pace, it appears.
Indeed, welcome back to Dale Smith, though, who was one of the more popular podcasting guests with me and Mr. C. We're hoping to get that podcast rolling once again now that I can... Well, okay, I'm going to be able to talk until, like, Wednesday when I have to go back into the dentist to get more work done.
We're going to have you replaced with a robot.
At that point, that might be advisable.
You can just type it in and use the Siri voice to get your point across.
Yeah, the Stephen Hawking idea?
Yeah. Exactly.
To see some of me, I've been playing a lot of BattleTech lately because it's about the only thing that doesn't make me motion sick. I mean, there's other things. I can play RTS, but racing games and me right now don't mix, as Ishmael Montoya makes the move there on Jordan Alcolia. Or no, that's Evgeny Lazarenko, actually, that made a move on. He had priorly gotten past Jordan. And somebody is in the wall, and it is John Picha. Looks like he is out of the race, probably broke his car, collecting himself against the wall. Martin Edmonds has been passed by Andy Blade for second place, but is trying to come back at his fellow Canadian. And behind them is still a battle between Fran Machuca and Jorgen Walby. And then there's a huge train forming behind Dale Smith. We just talked about, but he's got Eric Friesen, Gerardo Del Vea, Richard DeRoche, it looks like John Barker, Ariel Zatoni, Sean Kenny, all kind of lined up in behind him, and this is where things can get very interesting and very ugly.
Put him all in the wall!
As Eric Friesen appears to have cleared Smith for 6th place. We'll see if he can sprint away. Martin and Andy going a little bit wide there, but and Martin is going to lose the spot to Fran Machuca, who's in place.
Suddenly and mysteriously, we've gone from a 21-car grid to a 3-car grid. Not sure what happened there, Bill. They all went in the wall, Jim.
All went in the wall. We're down to 20 cars now with the retirement of John Picha, unfortunately.
That means we are not having a peachy time.
You're not wrong on that, Jim. Battle for second place here, forming up for a 4-car fight, and then of course a large fight for 6th place, although it looks like Eric Friesen is breaking away from that train a little bit now that he's cleared Dale Smith. And congratulations are in order to our GT2 champion, Sean Kinney, running in 12th place. Brand Machuca looking to get up the inside of Andy Blade. Very interesting move there around Canada corner, by the way. Was that corner that we just went through?
Is it frosty?
It is the furthest north point on the track.
Oh, very nice.
Martin Edmonds looking to shove his way past Machuca, who has failed to get past Andy Blade, but will continue to hang on to the 3rd position. Top-ranked man in the Academy class at the moment is James Butler, running in 14th position.
Senor Boutelier.
Edmonds has gotten past Machuca. Oh, Jorgen Walby gets spun around.
Not nice.
I'd say he definitely had a little help on that one.
Jorgen rejoining in, it looks like 13th position. Yeah, looks like 13th place behind Alex Loeffler. And the Mike Stoffmill watch, he is now about 8.5 seconds out in front.
I blame foreigners. Wait, there's a lot of those here, aren't there?
It's a relatively foreign-heavy field, yes.
Fair enough. Maybe let's blame some domestic terrorism then.
I mean, it is possible that is the case. But we are not Donald Trump. Oh. Brand Machuca putting the pressure on Martin Edmonds, and in behind him, it's suddenly Dale Smith wound up in 5th place. So it looks like Eric Friesen may have been the one to either collect Jorgen Walby or be otherwise held up, because he's dropped back down to 6th position with Gerardo Del Valle and Richard DeRoche on his tail. Grande Ricardo, 8th place. Gerardo Del Valle, Byron's favorite race car driver at the moment, Pro Handicap race team.
Pro Handy, baby. We're all about inclusion here at the racing. We like to have all the people, whether you can push the pedals or whatever.
He unfortunately did lose a spot there to Richard DeRoche, who's now going on the attack against Eric Friesen.
Yeah, like Friesen got held up there. Dale Smith overshooting Canada corner. We've seen a lot of action there. Had some action last lap. This time Dale overshoots it, and I'm pretty sure it was a quick shot, but I think that's where Pacheco went off as well.
Indeed, Canada corner is always one of the more tricky corners on the track, as it is a battle between Martin Lauer and Academy man James Butler. Needs to get by up into 14th place, and does. So Martin's charge from the back of the field still continues. He's up to 14th. And now also a man on the charge because of a spin early in the race is Ismael Montoya, who is looking to get past Dennis Meichner there for 16th place. The MSC Odenkirchen car. And
Bob Odenkirk?
further back, the battle is between Pinky Mo and Jordan Alcoli, which is what we're going with until otherwise corrected. And this is a battle for 19th position between the debutante from Japan and, of course, the veteran Pinky Mo.
Go Alcoholia.
I figured that was where you were going to go.
Yeah, boy.
Honestly, Jordan, if you want the Byron boosting commentary, just claim that actually is how it's pronounced and go with it.
It says some silent letters involved, and it doesn't translate exactly into Arabic numerology there, so just go with it.
Derek
Pinkford
move around the outside by Pinky Mo there gets him 19th position. At the front, the gap is growing, and it's over 10 seconds. Like Stuckmill is
time for a pit stop. That would be interesting. You gain like a 12-second lead, hit a pit stop immediately, get back out there.
And it looks like there's a good fight going on for 5th place between Dale Smith and Richard DeRoche. And it looks like DeRoche has got it. Looked like Smith went wide again, coming out of Canada corner. But he is fighting back. Dale Smith is nothing if not a tenacious driver. See the battle there between Gerardo Del Vea, who's gotten past Richard DeRoche. So I think Richard has made a mistake. And Travis, how much would you want to be in this train of cars?
Well, if I was at the front of it, I wouldn't mind too much. It'd be, and contact, nice save.
Nice save.
Nice save.
It's like,
it's like DeRoche may have got.
Not so good for DeRoche. He's flying backwards, and I think he may have retired there.
That's what it looks like. He pierced. Nope, back in 20th. Oh, more contact. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and Gerardo getting into the back of somebody. So Gerardo paying the favor.
And that's why I wouldn't want to be in the middle of the battle.
Looks like we may also have lost Yevgeny Lazarenko. Perhaps, or maybe that's just the timing. It looks like maybe it was timing error. Yeah, Richard DeRoche is indeed out of this race. And in the pit lane is Jordan Alcolia. You can tell that his car is still active because of the way he is faced. So he's not retired. And Yevgeny Lazarenko is also out. So we've lost Yevgeny at some point. And then we're down to 18 cars of the 21 that started. Martin Edmonds putting the pressure on Fran Machuca. So I suppose we should get a reset of the top 10 now. It is Mike Stockville leading from Andy Blade, Fran Machuca, Martin Edmonds, Dale Smith, Eric Friesen, John Barker, Sean Kenny, Alex Loeffler has come up, and Martin Lauer, who started dead last, is in the top 10, boys.
Get loud, get loud, get loud.
Now that the calamity in the top 10 there has gotten Dale Smith free of the group behind him, got that pressure eased off of him, I wonder if he can work to close the gap here to the battle for 3rd.
It's possible. It does look like there's still a considerable train going from John Barker down to Jorgen Walby, though. So we haven't lost the train. We've just kind of lost a couple of members of it. That is Jordan Alcolia rejoining the race after a pit stop for, I'm going to assume, some damage. Either that or maybe a considerable fuel miscalculation by our Japanese representative.
No, I think they're really good at numbers.
That was a really long stop. When we saw him in there, I was thinking maybe he just decided to pit early, get out of all the fighting, have a clear track, and that way when others start dropping off for the race, maybe the time that he could make up being alone, he'd be ahead of the people. But I think that was a longer stop than just topping off the fuel. That could have been for damage.
Yeah, that is my assumption, is that perhaps he picked up some splitter damage at some point, or otherwise damaged the car and needed a pit stop. John Barker losing a spot to Sean Kinney there.
Maybe he's just worse on tires than Martin Edmonds is.
I don't know. Pit stop's still too long, but I mean it's possible. But I don't know if anyone's worse on tires than Martin Edmonds.
Well, we're gonna find out today.
Meantime, speaking of Martin Edmonds, he's still putting the pressure on Fran Machuca. Admin on admin crime here, as of course Fran Machuca runs our Spanish affiliate.
Bueno.
The actual name of their community eludes me, so someone can put that in the comments, please do.
It's LESR.
No, it's not like an actual ESR thing. It's just a Spanish community that we're like very, we work with.
Los ESR?
Also from that community is Mr. Ismael Montoya.
Bueno.
Who is also having a nice recovery drive. He's fighting for 12th now with Gerardo Del Vea. So Spain versus Mexico in a very classic battle. Martin Lauer's charge through the grid is now up to 9th place as he's on the tail of John Barker. And it seems like John Barker is a bit of a stopper in this whole thing, and a little bit of flashing lights there from Mr. Montoya. He's under pressure from Gerardo Del Vea. Now, I am told that the light flashing, because I was going to rant about it a little bit, I'm told that might actually be the fact that his push to talk and his headlight flash button are mapped to the same button. Because it was annoying watching the race, because he would, like, my joke was, guy's going to pass me, flash headlights. I'm within 2 seconds of the guy, flash headlights. I'm going to go for a pass, flash headlights.
Maybe he's just trying to communicate through binary.
Really not, though. That's the problem with the overuse of flashing headlights, is that it really doesn't mean anything after you're flashing your headlights forever.
You just don't understand binary, that's all.
As the one who went to school for computer engineering, I think I do. Well, I think I have your answer for your earlier quandary there, Travis, whether Dale Smith could catch up with the battle for top 4. I'm going to go with no, because it seems like the battle for 5th is now just catching up to him.
Yeah, it's looking that way. As he's going too wide in the background there.
Yeah, he's got Eric Friesen all over him at this point. And one would think that GT2 champion Sean Kenny might be coming as well. Back there he goes, losing 5th place to Eric Friesen. Let's see if he can make a comeback. He's definitely lining up for another pass. Oh, contact!
I like a little contact.
Looks like both cars have held on, although Eric Friesen has slid very far back. He may actually be off the track. That is a growing gap. Nope, looks like he's still on the track, but a little bit of a shot down the inside there for Dale Smith, and it looked like Eric Friesen maybe turned in on him a little bit and caused a collision. Sean Kenny is bringing John Barker with him, along with Martin Lauer, Jurgen Walby's in that mix, and of course Alex Loeffler in 11th place there in the other Basalt car.
Basalt and Battery?
Just the race team name. Kind of like the crap racing deal.
Hey man, don't talk shit about crap racing.
Crap racing is mighty. Richard Higgs bringing them nothing but pride.
Have we confirmed or denied if he has 3 little Higgs?
I believe he denies that he has 3 little Higgs.
Not that he has to pay child support for it anyway, right?
I believe that was the exact wording he used. Things could get ugly here as John Barker appears to be a little bit slow at a Canada corner. And it's really causing a bit of a stack up here in the battle for 8th place. Martin Lauer looking for a way around him. He's in the black car there. The gray and black car is Jurgen Walby, and the white and blue is Alex Loeffler, who would really like to make some ground up because Loeffler 4th in the standings, but just didn't have a very good qualifying here. Definitely would like to get a little bit better than that 11th place he currently holds. Look out for behind them because Gerardo Del Valle, Ismael Montoya, and Ariel Zatoni are all on recovery drives. They occupy 12th through 14th. Somebody going out wide there and off the track. That was Sean Kenny, who had broken away from this group but is now going to be back under pressure.
It's a rare mistake for him. I was surprised when I looked up and seen him off the track there.
John Barker going wide, looking for an overtake. Martin Lauer looking for overtake. Ooh, 3 wide. Barker is through. I think Friesen, or pardon me, Sean Kenny has a problem. He has dropped back another position, and I think he's going to lose another one here to Martin Lauer.
Is that problem a desire for more cowbell?
I mean, he may have a fever.
Perhaps Kenneth just has not found the frequency.
It's possible. Possible that he just needs that frequency. Got a little battle going down there for 15th place for Academy Honors between James Butler and Dennis Meister, so that could be interesting. In the meantime, that car in the background of this fight is the lapped car of Jordan Alcolia, as Martin Edmonds continues to battle with Fran Machuca over 3rd position. How about a big shout out to Andy Blade, though, with a very solid 2nd place going on right now. I mean,
it could be better.
He's like 12 seconds behind the leader, but, pit stop maybe? No. I was going to say, this is a bit early for a pit stop. This is a 90-minute race. We're predicting 1 pit stop, so pit stop shouldn't really be coming into play until 45 minutes into the race.
I was going to basically do that exact math.
But would you have done it so eloquently?
I would have done it in a way that it would sound like I wasn't even doing math.
You do have talent. You do have a talent for that.
Nerd!
And a little bit of contact there between Edmonds and Machuca, but nothing too bad.
I don't think they really mean it. They don't seem dedicated to that life.
I mean, it's not Travis Wallace level contact or Lachlan Nicholas level contact.
Well, when Travis makes contact, you know you've been contacted.
More effective that way.
Travis Wallace, welcome to Using the Bumper 101 with Travis Wallace.
He is just a very passionate driver.
Followed by How to Take Someone Out in the Way into the Pit Lane with your professor, Lachlan Nichols. I'm never going to let you forget, Lachlan.
Back with another of those Block Lachlan beats.
It's a bit early in the race to really tell, but is there anyone that you guys think has got a bit more of a charge in them at this point? That someone that is still a little out of position can make that late lunge to get a little bit of extra glory? Is there anyone you're looking for to make the moves?
Well, I think based on Dale Smith's performance thus far, he should be expected to finish in the top 3. And I always wait for Jorgen Welby to do weird shenanigans later in the race.
Anyone you have your eye on there, Travis?
I was looking at Sean Kinney. He was running a good race, made one little mistake, and fell all the way back to 9th. Still plenty of racing left, though. I'm wondering if he can pull that back.
It's like a good scrap going on for 11th through 13th right now between Alex Loeffler, Ismael Montoya, and Gerardo Del Valle. Ariel Zatoni within spitting distance of it as well. Looks like we have a car that may be having some connection issues as they slide around on the standings there.
I'm starting to wonder if Edmonds is just sitting behind Machuca trying to save a little fuel, extend the run a little bit maybe.
You know, I guess it's a valid claim because they're relatively stagnant to Andy Blade. It's not like they're losing ground. But I think if you see that gap to Andy Blade start to open up, I think you got to make the pass at that point.
Head him off at the past.
And talking about the pit stops, we discussed fuel at the beginning of the broadcast. The tires, you may be able to stretch the fuel. How are the tires on these things going to look after a run that long? Would it be more beneficial to pit maybe halfway to take the tires?
I think it's a little bit of a 50-50 mix with that. Definitely a lot of drivers have been making the tires last the entire 90 minutes because the tires on these Audis are actually pretty robust. Looks like Dale Smith off the track there, and Dale Smith is out!
No, Dale, why?
Looks, if I'm any judge, I think he may have broken something on the car because it was behaving very strangely. There you can see him in the pit lane out of this race. So, looks like a surefire top 10 for Dale Smith, maybe out the door at this point. And that may free up some other guys like the man you mentioned earlier there, Travis, Sean Kenny, to get a little bit more glory. But I'm gonna give another shout out to Martin Lauer here. Started this race in 21st position. He's up to 7th.
I feel bad about cursing Dale, so I will punish myself by harming my liver.
It's not punishment. Don't listen to him, Dale. He's going to do it anyways.
I mean, it doesn't feel like punishment, but I will, mea culpa, mea maxima drinka.
Looks like Martin Edmonds may be on the same brainwave you are, Mike. I don't think he's going to be patient anymore. I feel like he tried to make a move in the final corner there. He might be trying to get around since they're not really catching Andy Blade at this point.
Well, I think he's been trying to make a move around. I don't think he's desperate for it because Andy's not pulling away from them, but I think it's definitely a case where he's looking for something. Looks like Alex Loeffler, by the way, has lost out in the fight with Ariel Zatoni, Gerardo Del Valle, and Ismael Montoya, and has dropped back to 13th position. It's not the Basalt car. He's the 034 Motorsports car. Okay. They just kind of look similar from the front. Meantime, it is Machuca and Edmonds side by side. Here we go.
I was watching the time in there. It looks like they've been side by side since turn 1.
Now, here is the problem, and this is kind of contrary to what I was thinking before, because Andy Blade was not pulling away from them before they started fighting. With them fighting now, he is pulling away from them, so I don't know if that's terribly advisable, as Martin Lauer makes his way into the top 5, taking 5th place off of Eric Friesen.
Jorgen Welby into the top 10.
Indeed, Mr. Walby is into the top 10 in ninth. You can see him there in the background, actually. He's the orange and black car in the background.
Shout out to Juan Barcadero.
John Barker having a solid day. He's in 7th right now at the tail end of this 3-car battle. Martin Lauer versus Eric Friesen and John Barker. Sean Kenny, Jurgen Walby, and Del Vea rounding off the top 10. And right on the tail of Del Vea, the continuous Mexican versus Spanish battle is Ismael Montoya. 11th position.
No habla español. Many apologies.
Here we go through Canada corner. Martin Lauer, the Canadian, hangs on to it. Although I guess that's Canadian on Canadian crime, because of course Eric Friesen is also Canadian.
The deep freezer. He
Now,
doesn't have the crayon vomit car. I don't think he's going to win.
I will say that this battle, though, is playing into the hands of the cars behind them, because Sean Kenny is right up on the back end of it now, threatening John Barker for 7th, and Walby is right behind him. They're both coming strong. Eric Friesen with the better drag down the straightaway. He takes back 5th place. Can Martin pull the switch back into quarter 1? We will see. Or can he go around the outside? That would be very impressive. The answer to both of those questions is no. Friesen hangs on for now.
They put him in the wall.
I suppose I should ask, Travis, do you have any drivers in this race, since you are assigned to a couple of the Academy drivers as coach assistant? Is there any one of your charges here today?
No, not this time.
This is very, very disappointing.
Wrong. That was a trick question. You have 2 racers in there, and you have failed.
Martin Lauer going for a move there on Eric Friesen, and it just really worked out for Sean Kenny, who says, I'll take both of you.
Thank you, and good night.
Sean Kenny into the top 5 for the GT2 champion. Of course, it's notable to note that these are the larger brother of the Academy cars. There, what are your thoughts on how well some of your Academy drivers would do in this race, there, Travis? With the increased horsepower.
It would probably feel very familiar. If I recall, they drive pretty similar. The only difference really just being the extra horsepower and not having the push to pass. But yeah, from what I recall, they're pretty similar to drive, so it probably would not be a difficult adjustment.
Little nudge there for John Barker through Canada corner, courtesy of Gerardo Del Vea. And the man who made the moves is Jurgen Walby, who's up into 8th position. Oh, Martin Lauer is off.
No, you got too loud.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like he's really putting the pressure on Walby, but or not Walby, Friesen, but he got a little too close.
You were not wrong there, but he's dropped back to 13th place. Maybe further. Dennis Meister is still closing the gap to him, so we'll see if Meister can get past him. Or if, looks like he's rejoined the back of this pack, actually. Okay, so Martin Lauer back on track in 13th position there in the black car. Montoya with the save! Got a little bit of contact with Del Vea and spun it out pretty... man, the positions from about 5th place back down to like 13th are really up for grabs here. Ariel Zatoni now getting closer to Montoya after Montoya's moment there. Argentina versus Spain. Spain's picking all the fights with its colonies today.
I was gonna say, do we have any Chilean racers? Because I want to see some Argentina versus Chile. That would be entertaining.
We do have Chilean racers, but not in today's field, unfortunately. None of them are particularly regular to contest our Argentines, Luciano Ichazo and Ariel Zatoni.
Perhaps they could use some fiber to become more regular.
Could be, could be. Gerardo Del Vea has had a very interesting race so far. Very up and down. He's currently in 9th position there. Looking for more, though. Eric Friesen is up on the back of Sean Kenny. So any thoughts that Sean Kenny would run away from this fight? I think pretty much dismissed as Eric Friesen put the... Oh, Kenny in the wall! Sean Kenny put himself in the wall heading into Canada corner.
Yeah, like he was trying to go a little defensive and clip the grass.
I'm just going to chalk that one up to self-sabotage. He needs to probably see a sports psychologist.
Quite possible. He's now under immense pressure from Jorgen Walby, and the man who's also on the charge is Delvea, who is looking to get past John Barker for 8th position.
You don't stand a chance against Jorgen the Wallbanger Walby.
In the meantime, in the background is the flashing lights of Ismael Montoya.
I feel as if we have an Ishmael, we need to have a Queequeg.
True.
They could be on the same racing team. It would be beautiful.
It would be.
Of course, then their nemesis, we'd need to get an Ahab to be a nemesis.
That's also true.
If you don't understand what I'm talking about, y'all motherfuckers need to read books.
Pretty much. Looks like Sean Kenny, for now, hanging on against Jorgen Walby. And Walby might be open to attack from John Barker.
Attack.
Can Barker get through? Looks like he will. John Barker back in his 7th place. And also coming through is Gerardo Delvea. Walby back down to 7th place after a relatively minor mistake. He's now got Montoya and Zatoni on his tail. And still at the back of this pack is Alex Loeffler and Martin Lauer. Tell me, Byron, does Martin Lauer need to get lower?
I've been making that joke the whole goddamn time.
It's just been a while since you made it.
It's been like 2.5 minutes.
Hey, I'm working with what I got here.
You ran into the wall. I said he got too loud to the ground.
I think we may have missed it. I'm taking a look up at the board here. Machuca and Edmonds are pretty far spread apart.
Yeah, it looks like Martin has made a bit of a mistake and let Machuca have a 4-second lead over him. Machuca also has lost ground to Andy Blade, so I'm wondering if maybe contact between the two cars?
That's what it looks like. That'd be my guess.
It looks like Edmonds got the worst end of it, and still running fairly comfortable in 4th place, but we'll see what can be done there as Montoya is lining up for a possible move here to turn 1 on Jorgen Walby. Ariel Zatoni also lining up that move. And, Delvea and Barker getting very close there. A little, just the faintest hint of contact there.
That's the name of my new cologne. Contact for men.
Looks like we might have lost Jordan Alcolia as well. He's 3 laps down to Pinky Mo. This makes me think that we've missed a retirement at some point.
He's been hitting the bottles of Alcolia too hard.
Walby looking to make a move on Gerardo Delvea. Can't get through yet. Might go for it into this turn as well. Although we haven't seen many good moves into this turn yet. In the background, Martin Lauer has claimed 12th spot from Alex Loeffler, who is now at the back of this pack. Ismael Montoya going down the inside. Walby might have the switchback though, but the inside line is going to go back to Montoya. And Montoya is through with a celebratory flash of the headlights.
Won't. Just honk the horn.
That would be better.
Diddle-did.
Martin Lauer slicing his way up another spot to overtake Ariel Zatoni. Welcome back, Martin, to the grid, actually. We haven't seen him in a while.
He was in 4th place. What do you mean?
I meant before this race.
Indeed.
And that's the wrong Martin.
One Martin's the same as all the others, right?
A little harsh. One's French.
That's probably true.
mean, I don't know about you, Martin Lauer, but I'm offended on your behalf that you've been confused for a Quebecois.
I mean, I heard that Edmonds, that's not even his real accent. He's just putting that on.
You were saying that he is not really the Jean Chrétien?
I question his poutine credentials.
That could just be a case of not being proper French Canadian.
I heard that he's just French for pay.
Oh, is that a good industry at this point?
I have no idea if there's money in that. Probably not. Which makes it even more sad.
Should be mentioned that Eric Friesen and Sean Kenny, due to their infighting over 5th place, are falling back into this train.
Drive faster, you won't have that problem.
I do feel the need to point out that this is something I've been talking about in the Academy chat, is that sometimes sometimes just tucking in behind and making a run for it might be a better option. John Barker losing control of the car there, and he's going to drop a bunch of positions as Gerardo Delvea and Montoya make their way around him. Next on the docket is Walby. Lauer and Zatoni also in close attendance. A little bit of a wide there from Delvea. He'll hold off Montoya for now, though, for 7th place. And look to go on the attack against Eric Friesen. Stop, Bill Watch. The lead is now up to 22 seconds. Looks like at this point I was just confirming that Jordan had indeed dropped out of the race.
No, Jordan, why?
Now you're just going to be the butt end of alcohol jokes.
Correct. Obviously, that boy needs to go to a clinic.
And I'm not going to be able to defend you because you're not racing. Delvea looking to get around Eric Friesen, and this is just playing into the hands of Sean Kenny, who's desperately trying to get a gap from this group. We are approaching the pit stop window, though. It should be mentioned. We're about 6 minutes probably still from optimal pit stop window. But when do you, if you're a driver in this huge train here, Travis, when are you thinking undercut? When are you thinking just get me out of this so I can get some free air and really stretch my legs?
Well, in my opinion, if I were in the car, when you're in a battle that's as big as this one is, all you're doing is losing time. I would pit as early as I could. Normally, I'd try to stretch it out. That way my car is as light as possible for as long as possible in the race. And then just pit as late as I could. Stretch it to the last lap. That way you're taking as little fuel as necessary and you've had a lighter car. But if you're in a group like this, I would recommend pulling off early and trying to get the undercut, because when you're running by yourself, you're going to be faster than everybody going too wide and swapping for positions, running defensive. It'll slow you down more than you think.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, Sean Kenny has lost 2 positions to Eric Friesen and Gerardo Delvea in the Go Handicap car.
Go Handicap, it's your birthday, get your drive on.
And he's now under pressure from Ismael Montoya. Further back, it is still John Barker, Jurgen Walby, Martin Lauer, Ariel Zatoni, and Alex Loeffler in this huge fight. I mean, I feel like Loeffler's in a decent position. He's just enough off that he's not really being held up. But, yeah, if I'm almost anyone else in this group, I'm thinking about that pit stop as soon as I can.
I mean, really, what you should do is pit stop after the second lap, and then everybody's all confused and off their game for the rest of the race.
And problems for Sean Kenny, who's just lost spots to Montoya and to Barker, and has been shuffled. He was 5th place at the start of this lap and is now back in 9th.
Yeah, see, if I was in that position, I'd be hitting pit road now. Go ahead and get the pit stop out of the way.
Looks like somebody is taking your advice. Actually, I saw someone going for the pit row.
Looks like that may have been Loeffler.
Looks like it's Alex Loeffler, which is a bit weird because I thought he was the only one that wasn't really in a position to make that pit stop because he was a little bit off the back of this. But it looks like someone else is coming out of the pit lane there. Maybe Pinky Mo rejoining the race from his pit stop. Pinky Moe and Alex Loeffler are your first two to do their fuel stop. Not quite at the halfway point. 48 minutes still to go.
I vote that everybody drive as fast as possible.
There is Loeffler's car. They got to work on the pit stop animations for this game.
It's flawless. What do you mean?
Are you saying that it totally looks like when you make a pit stop that your car is just humping the ground?
Oh yes, every time.
Pro handicap up to 6th place. Gerardo Del Vea on the charge. Martin Lauer looking for a way through. Martin is one of the ones who I think might want to look into that pit stop that we were talking about, because I think he's one of the faster guys in this group. Had an incident at Canada Corner and is still with the group and kind of roared back at them. I think if he pits, gets himself some like clean air, or like maybe has to like overtake like, I don't know, James Butler or something, he's probably in a better spot than he is in his current 11th place, that he's basically stuck behind this group of frankly unpredictable potential carnage. The other guy I would say that's true of is also Jorgen Walby.
Don't talk shit about Jorgen.
I'm not. That was a compliment.
I heard your sarcastic tone.
Going past the pit lane entrance. Is anyone going to go in? It looks like someone is going in. And that is Ariel Zattoni, the Argentine, is going to duck into the pit lane and make his stop.
Looked like we just had somebody drop there that was in that battle.
Not seeing anybody. Oh, you're right. Jorgen Walby has disappeared.
Thought I saw somebody pop out there as they come onto the front stretch.
Yeah, it looks like Jorgen Walby has lost connection, and he is done for the day, joining Dale Smith, Jordan Alcolia, Evgeny Lazarenko, Richard DeRoche, and John Picha.
See, I told you you'd do something interesting later in the race.
You were not wrong.
Double curse! Yeah, buddy.
John Barker losing 7th place there to Ismael Montoya. Moves up through the ranks a little bit there.
Although I don't know if I can really be held accountable for cursing something that happened the day before.
Yeah, it's not really Caster's curse.
I just bet wrong.
Unless your powers of prognostication are actually backwards and cursing. That would be intriguing. Martin Lauer still looking to put the pressure on Sean Keeney to get around. As Zattoni is rejoined ahead of Loeffler, behind James Butler, who's yet to pit. Looks like Zattoni got the better of the pit stops because he's got about a 2-second gap back to Loeffler now, and it was, I think, closer before the pit stops. Boom! Sean Kenny off at Canada Corner, leaving himself open to Martin Lauer, who's going to take advantage, showing that Canadian advantage there in Canada Corner.
Wonder if that's the tires going or the pressure getting to him. We've seen a couple of mistakes from Sean Kenny today.
I tend to think it probably a little bit more pressure, to be honest, because the tires should still be pretty fresh at this point. The Audi TT is very kind to its tires, unless your name is Martin Edmonds. Stop, Millwatch. The gap is now 25 seconds.
Feel like he could have pitted like 7 or 8 laps ago and probably got away with it.
The pit stop is longer than his gap. He would drop behind. He would not retain the lead. But
I mean, that's not saying much.
As we saw from Paul Hicard, he's more than capable of making the overtakes happen. It looks like Montoya and Del Vea have rejoined their battle, now over 6th place.
So far in this race, I don't think I've seen anybody follow as close.
Looks like we've lost Sean Kenny from the race.
Oh, that is disappointing.
So that brings us down to 14 cars.
But I don't think I've seen anybody follow as close as Montoya has been. I mean, he is getting right under the back wing of these other drivers and just staying there.
Just like, oh, don't mind me. I'm just here to collect the position when you make a mistake. And flash my headlights at you.
Womp womp.
By the way, as if to put the explanation point on my commentary, he's flashing his headlight.
Somebody needs to get the La Cucaracha horn mod. Every time the lights flash, it's like diddle-it-did, diddle-it-did.
Martin Lauer on the tail of John Barker through Canada Corner. We've seen him make some moves in Canada Corner, but not this particular time. Looking at Fran Machuca, who's now in second place. Mike Stockmill in the pit lane, taking service.
Service me good, baby. Service me good.
He's dropped behind. Andy Blade is now your race leader from Fran Machuca and Martin Edmonds. Looks like Stockmill's going to drop back a little bit further as the battle for fifth is coming through. Martin Lauer looking to go down the inside of John Barker, and he does. That's a temporary 6th place for Martin Lauer. And it looks like Gerardo Del Valle also on pit road taking his pit stop, as well as Mike Stockmill. Stockmill has rejoined in 8th position for the record. Your race leader, number 1 in your hearts, number 115 on your program, Andy Blade.
I think you got that the other way around.
He's definitely 115 on the program, sir. His car number is 115.
I mean, maybe they just forgot a decimal point.
Are you suggesting that there are 114 drivers ahead of Andy Blade in your heart?
I don't know that many. So I guess
the answer would be no.
Technically, no.
Now, would you say Andy Blade is number 21 in your heart? That's right.
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, he's pretty much just evil. He says horrible things. He drinks too much, and he's probably from Wales.
Wait, are you commenting on someone else's rampant alcoholism?
Hey, it's not rampant. It's entertaining.
Looks like Andy Blade pondered making the pit stop there, but is gonna stretch it another lap.
All I know is I want to go buy a lever gun.
He likes padding his lap sled stat.
I would too.
Fran Machuca is still in second place. Martin Edmonds, Eric Friesen, Ismael Montoya, Martin Lauer, John Barker. The highest ranking pit stopped car is Mike Stockmill in 8th place. Dennis Meister is in the top 10, along with fellow Academy driver James Butler. In the pits comes Eric Friesen,
leader of the James Butler trio.
Also into the pits, that's John Barker. So it'll be interesting to see where they come out in relation to Gerardo Del Valle, Ariel Zattoni, and Alex Laughlin.
So Stockmill just blew past Edmonds and Meisner. And
well, they're in the pit lane, in fairness.
Oh, fair enough. I was just looking at the times going boom, boom, wow, okay, never mind.
That happens every time some people go into the pits. 3 cars ahead of them go in the pits. Stockmill back into the top 5.
Oh yeah. It's time to get loud, get loud, get loud.
And off the pit lane comes Eric Friesen. Can he get out ahead of Del Valle is the question. Looks like he will, but Del Valle is pretty damn close. John Barker going to rejoin behind them. Ariel Zattoni jumping John Barker in the pit stop, so the early pit stop working out for Ariel Zattoni. He has jumped up a little bit higher in the pecking order for that fight for 5th place.
Put him in the wall, hey, put him in the wall, hey. Not that I advocate things like that at all.
I will say the early pit stop hasn't necessarily favored Alex Loeffler all that much. Although he is on the tail of John Barker, who was a couple of cars ahead of him in that battle, so working out okay, I suppose. But it also depends if he's been able to put good laps in since he came in out of the pit lane. Fran Machuca to the lead of the race with Andy Blade coming in for his pit stop. Representing the FH Culm Motorsports team, here is the race leader, Mike Stopmill. Effective race leader, I would like to make that clear. He is not the actual race leader, but he was so far ahead that I don't think there's really any question as he makes the pass on Andy Blade while Blade is in pit lane.
Make sure you buy you a Henry Lever gun, goddammit.
The LMS Engineering 2016 team. It's a bit weird to put the year of your team in.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's a little odd.
I mean, they do that with a lot of soccer teams in Europe.
I would deliberately do the wrong year.
Now, let's see where Andy Blade comes out in relevance to Martin Edmonds, because it looks like Edmonds has closed the gap significantly, and here he comes. Andy Blade coming out of the pits. Edmonds, can he take him? Martin Edmonds goes through! So Andy Blade maybe taking that extra lap was not a great idea.
Speeding in the pit lane. 5 minutes in the box.
It wouldn't be 5 minutes, but a couple seconds. Still yet to pit. We're still waiting for Fran Machuca, Ismail Montoya, Martin Lauer, Dennis Meister, who's worked his way into the top 5 via the long run. James Butler yet to pit. And those are your last guys, I think. Everybody else has been into the pits and should be fueled to the end of the race.
Joke's on you. Meisner's got refueled via helicopter while you weren't looking.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I'd be interested.
Is it a Viking helicopter?
Yeah, big horns on it.
Ah, cool.
Actually, they've replaced the propeller with just horns. Lots of horns.
Eric Friesen trying to go down the outside of Gerardo Delvey. I don't think that was ever really on, but Travis can disagree with me.
He gave it a late breaking shot. Didn't get it done, but he tried.
So the early pit stop, I think, has worked out quite well for Gerardo. He's jumped a bunch of the cars that he was fighting with. Now, if he can jump Lauer and Montoya, he'll be in a really good spot. "14 cars still running. We've lost Sean Kenny down, are out of the race. Reason looking again to maybe make a move into Canada Corner, which we've seen has been a fruitful place to go for the moves. But I don't really think you can make it work around the outside of Canada Corner, which is what Reason tried.
Not with that attitude.
It's a bit more of a challenge.
Martin Lauer right up on the tail of Ismail Montoya. Battle for temporary second place. Now, of course, the other end of the equation, because we were talking about the early pit stop, is Montoya and Lauer have gone very long. And we know Fran Machuca, from our prior commentary, Byron, will go very long. He's the one that seems to always try to make it on the no pit stop philosophy.
Word on the street is that Fran Machuca has the long stroke.
That is the word on the street, but it backfires on him at the end.
Yeah, I've never figured out how that's supposed to ever work unless you have some sort of secret weapon that lets you go the entire race completely unaffected. Well, because your tires are going to go to shit, you're going to run out of gas, and it's going to be near the end of the race, and you're going to have to pit, and then you lose like 10 positions at least.
Yeah, I think the tendency is Machuca keeps trying to go for these no pit stop strategies, and then with like 2-3 laps left goes, oh shit, I don't actually have enough fuel.
Yeah. Welcome to the no pit zone.
Gerardo Del Valle still holding off Eric Friesen, and they are trying to catch up to James Butler. Butler is yet to pit, so... Travis, talk us through that. How eager are you to get past James Butler right now if you are Del Valle and Friesen? Is it imperative, or are you just kind of confident to wait for him to make that pit stop? By the way, Fran Machuca in the pit lane! So no stopper today for the Spaniard. Fellow Spaniard Ismael Montoya taking over the lead of the race.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I would at this point, you know, I mean, the cars can go a good bit longer than everybody pit. So I think at this point, I would be expecting him, since the rest of the field's pit now, I would be expecting him to be trying to make it. So I would go ahead and push to get by.
Fair enough. Fran Machuca trying to beat Martin Edmonds out of the pit lane. Can he do it?
Nope.
The answer is yes.
I think it's gonna happen.
Maybe, probably.
Pinky Mo there in the lapped LMS engineering car going through, but not Martin Edmonds, who is going to be in 6th place for now with Machuca ahead of him. The top two have yet to pit. Dennis Meissner is yet to pit, and James Butler yet to pit. It looks like Del Valle and Friesen were on your side there in this debate, Travis. They've gotten past Butler pretty quickly. And are still very much scrambling amongst themselves, which is playing into the hands of Martin Lauer and Montoya if they can get out ahead of them. And here is the battle between Friesen and the Go Handicap Pro car of Gerardo Del Valle.
Go Pro Handy.
Following them in the background is the yet-to-pit car of James Butler. This is John Barker, I think, putting the pressure on Ariel Zittoni with Alex Loeffler in the background. And, well, Byron, we might be seeing Mike Stockmill take the lead before the two in front of him even pit. Because he's closed the gap to 3 seconds.
Yeah.
What was his gap to 2nd place before the pit stop?
Like 27 seconds?
27 seconds, I do believe. That was
He must
to
have had
Andy
a
Blade.
really good pit stop. He's already stretched that. Let's see, from there back to Machuca, who I think is going to be 2nd after the pit stops finish. I mean, he's 6?
36 seconds.
That's another 10 seconds.
And keep in mind that his gap of 27 seconds was to Andy Blade,
who's currently in 93rd place.
Must have had just a perfect run on and off pit red.
Well, I think it's also the fact that he's been out there running more or less in open air. So, you know, we saw him qualify on pole by almost a second. Get a couple of laps where he's not fighting with anyone just to burn rubber. He's gonna pull that gap out more.
Giggity.
Gerardo Del Valle looking for a way back past Eric Friesen, who has taken 8th place from him. A long run working out for Fran Machuca, who has put himself pretty much in what is effectively a 2nd place. James Butler in the pit lane, taking service. So that puts us down to Lauer, Montoya, and Meissner yet to pit.
Telling you, man, Miser's been refueled. You just won't watch it.
Yeah, we are going with the airdrop theory.
Yes.
Mike Stockmill has got it down to 1 second between him and Martin Lauer. He is on the charge. Speaking of which, here it is. Martin Lauer versus Mike Stockmill. Mike Stockmill, having already made his pit stop, is almost ready to resume the lead of the race.
Knock, knock.
Dennis Meissner approaching the pit lane entrance. Let's see if he goes in now or if he's going to try and make this a 0-stop race. Representing the Rotec Racing team. And Dennis Meister is in the pits. There goes your theory, Byron.
Dang it!
Back to the battle for second place between Mike Stoppmill and Martin Lauer. Now, if you're Mike Stoppmill, Travis, I know Byron's answering. How risky are you to make this overtake happen? Is this something you're going to be patient about, or is this something you kind of want to prove your point?
I would be patient with it. I mean, you've got nothing to gain from doing it. You know, both drivers ahead of you still have to pit. So, I mean, the only thing that's going to come out of it if something goes wrong is that you're going to lose. And with the lead that you have at this point, it wouldn't be worth the risk. You'd just be patient and maybe even sit behind them until they do pit, and then start pushing again. Give the tires a chance to cool off or something. I don't think there's any kind of rush there.
Now, I suppose the question is, at what point do you flip the switch on that and thinking they're going to try and go for a zero pit stop strategy?
Well, with the pace difference he's got, and the two cars ahead of him are, I mean, not really that far apart. It wouldn't take him but maybe 5 laps to run it, to run the leader down. I would say about 15 minutes or so, then you start wondering, maybe they're not going to pit, and you start to push.
Looks like Mike Stoppmill might be disagreeing with you a little bit as he has barged his way past Martin Lauer for second place. Eric Friesen going side by side once again with Gerardo Del Vea. I was going to say Del Vea coming up the advantage of that, but he slides off the track.
Look like the way Friesen's car wiggled there. It looks like they may have done a little door slapping before they got into the braking zone there.
Little door-to-door fun.
You can really get away with it in these cars, man. They're heavy, they're durable. They're good for close battling, as we've seen this whole race now.
Martin Lauer trying to come back at Mike Stoppmill.
Would not recommend.
Seeing I think that may have just made your point there, Travis, is that Lauer coming back at Stoppmill, there was contact, and if had that gone really badly, that could be a DNF for Stoppmill.
Yeah, as big of a lead as he has at this point, I mean, you still got a good 10 minutes before you need to start worrying that maybe they're not going to pit. That there's really no rush, but I think he's secured it now. He's got enough of a gap that the draft won't allow Lauer to come back at him anymore.
Looks like it. John Barker under pressure from Ariel Zatoni. This is a classic battle we've seen play out a number of times. Tony looking to go down the inside into turn 1. Can he make it stick for 9th place? It looks like he will. Oh no, Barker with a great run around the outside. This is not over. In the background, Alex Loeffler just crossing his fingers, crossing his toes, crossing everything. Be like, just a little contact, please. And the battle between Del Vea and Friesen continues for 7th position. We're still awaiting Montoya and Lauer's pit stops. The long run has worked out for Dennis Meister a little bit. He's put a good gap away from James Butler and is, it's 20 seconds off of this group, but not doing too bad for the Academy driver. Byron is in the bathroom and would like us to know that.
Oh, okay. Useful info.
Useful info as to why we are not going to get any gregarious comments for, a little bit. There's a lot of Byron. There's a lot of Byron to handle down there, and he's back.
Hey! Bathroom's only like 8 big steps away, and I didn't want to disrupt things. Oh, hello!
Del Vea had a big run.
Gerardo Del Vea with a big run on Eric Friesen, a little bit of door banging. Can he get 7th place in the Go Handicap Pro EV car? They are still side by side coming out from Canada corner. In the meantime, Mike Stoppmill is going for the lead against Ismael Montoya. And he gets it done. Can't stop Mike Stoppmill. That's just all there is to it.
Can't stop, won't stop. Sorry, doing my penance for reverse caster cursing my picks. I seem to have overloaded my urinary system, so I had to take a quick break.
And Montoya flashing his headlights at the rear of Mike Stockmill for no discernible reason. Looks like Delvea has indeed gotten past Eric Friesen. We unfortunately cut away from that battle at a rather bad time, although we did see a change for the lead, so I cannot particularly fault the race director in this instance.
How come neither of you chuckleheads have decided to call him Dr. Freeze?
I call him Mr. Freeze.
You would say that.
Also call him Freezy the Shark, because of Jeff Friesen's long time.
Freeze Pop!
Jeff Friesen's long stay with the San Jose Sharks.
He will be known as Frosty Chillingsworth.
That's just a gimmick infringement of our good buddy Jake Halter.
Well, I mean, it's not like he patented the gimmick.
I believe he did. That was definitely his only real contribution to the wrestling scene. Because his actual wrestler was just Jake Black, who was like, Jack Swagger.
I thought it was like Jack Black, only with Jack Swagger type mentality.
No, it was really like a D1 wrestler Jack Swagger gimmick. I mean, that was really all it was. His alter ego manager was by far more interesting.
That is correct.
And possibly pedophilic.
We never confirmed that as an actual thing, so we're gonna, that's some, we can retcon that out of existence.
Hey kids, you want some pudding pops?
Yeah, I want some popsicles. I thought that he was just gonna abduct the wrestlers' kids and hold them hostage to make them lose.
Raven style.
Yeah.
I'd get down with that. Ariel Zatoni, John Barker, and Alex Loeffler in the battle here for 9th, 10th, and 11th. I suppose the other question I have, with two cars that you were rivals with earlier on, because all of these guys were racing against Montoya and Lauer, how interested are you just trying to get overtakes, or are you guys just interested in hooking up, putting up some really good lap times, and making it so that when Lauer and Montoya pit, if they do, you're well clear of them?
Yeah, it's a tough call, because I think they're close enough that, actually, I don't know, that's a big gap back to 4th. I don't know, because I don't know how long the pit stop's going to be compared to where they're at on track. Even if they did work together, I'm not sure if they would come out in front or not.
I think, to be honest, they've already sabotaged their own chances. Can you look at this? You got a 10-second gap to Delvea and Friesen, who they were also fighting with. So I think this is just an example of, I think they've been squabbling a little bit too much. And sure, they definitely want to beat the two guys they're with here, but I don't really know. I think in the grand scheme of things, they may have lost some positions, or the opportunity for some positions.
Yeah, I would totally agree. Every time we've looked at them, they've been just about door to door. And I think everybody knows that's not the quick way to do it.
Everybody knows that the best way to do it is just to drive faster all the time.
That's true.
Hooray!
Byron has given you some racing insights today.
Go fast! Just go fast. Eventually you'll win. It's the Ricky Bobby school of...
Now, as a caster, I prefer this technique because it's exciting to commentate this battle, but the tactician in me can't help but think that this probably was a bit counterproductive.
Yeah, it's definitely more entertaining to watch, and it's more entertaining to drive that way. But if you're going for results, it's not the best. It's not the best way to go.
So I think this long run of Montoya and Lauer is really going to work out because they really haven't been fighting with anybody. Like, they haven't really been fighting with each other. Stockmill briefly, came through and they, had a brief struggle with him, but nothing too exciting. I think they're probably going to push themselves into probably 5th and 6th place, I would think. Once they, if they do a pit stop, which I'm assuming we'll see in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that could very well be. I mean, they're not fighting against each other, and at this point, their cars are going to be a good bit lighter than the competition. I'm pretty sure they're actually pulling away from that race for 4th. So I think they've made the right move by staying out.
Absolutely. Now, I don't think they had the gap to Machuca to come out ahead of him, but they might have the gap to Andy Blade, with my rough guesstimate of how long a pit stop will take. So they could possibly be even 4th and 5th.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
Which would be a hell of a race for Martin Lauer, who, again, I have to emphasize, started this race dead last.
And Montoya, who ended up pretty far back after the spin on lap, was at the start of lap 2?
Started lap 1, I think, actually.
Yeah, so both of these guys really taking advantage of the situation.
Will they hit the pit lane? Nope. They're gonna stretch it another lap.
One more lap. One more lap. One more lap. Travis, do you have a weird, like, guinea pig or something in the background? What's going on there?
That's my daughter. I wasn't even pushing my push to talk. How are you hearing this?
Or
was it while I was talking you could hear it?
While you were talking, I heard some strange, high-pitched noises.
Yeah, my daughter's there, playing.
Are you suggesting that Travis Wallace is, in fact, a guinea pig?
He a hamster. No, I think if Travis Wallace was to be any form of the Rodentia type family, he would definitely be a capybara.
That's a pretty good compliment, actually. Capybaras are very expensive, and they actually live a fairly long time.
And they chill as fuck.
They are chill as fuck.
Have you seen the picture of the capybara on the riverside next to a gator? They're just chilling.
I don't know if that's a good survival instinct.
I don't know, but if the capybara can get away with it, why the hell not?
I feel like a bizarrely large amount of what I know about the capybara comes from that anaconda sound. It's like the educational version of Nicki Minaj's anaconda.
Didn't know that was a thing. That seems hilarious.
It's just got the beat of that song, but it's like actually talking about the actual facts of the anaconda.
I like big nuts and I cannot bite. Oh no, that's not. It's probably not part of that song.
I mean, it kind of is because Sir Mix-a-Lot does do the intro.
Nice.
Dun, dun, now, this is going to be interesting here. Now that Martin Lauer has caught Montoya, will he continue to stay in line, or is he going to race for it?
I think you want to race for it in this case, because I think Montoya still represents a position higher up. And if I'm looking at it, I mean, the thing I'd be looking at is, okay, how much are we losing time to Machuca? And, okay, he's going to actually take this out of our hands and just go in the pit lane. That was the other option I was going to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be his better option. He's obviously faster than Montoya. So rather than lose time on track, go ahead and pit and see where you come out.
All right, so this is the big pit stop of the race. Let's see where he comes out, because we've been speculating he might be ahead of Blade. We've been speculating he might be behind Blade. Is Gerardo Delvey and Eric Friesen, are they in his pit window? We're about to find out.
Stuff meal watch, 6-second lead.
In the pit lane, Martin Lauer, he is good to go. Here we go.
Yeah, he's going to be not lose out too far behind the battle for 4th.
Yeah, he's going to lose out to Machuca and Edmonds. There's Andy Blade in the background. He's going to get out. No, Blade's going to get him.
Yeah, he was a lot farther back on pit road than I thought he was.
Yep, so Lauer rejoins in 6th. Presumably that's also where Montoya will rejoin. I'm going to keep an eye on the gap between Machuca and Montoya. I want to know if he's losing ground, if he's gaining ground. What's the deal there? Because it's obviously going to depend. If Machuca took new tires, he's going to be faster than him. But if Montoya and him are on similar tires, Montoya's much lighter on fuel and should be able to pull away from his fellow Spaniard.
And Andy Blade and Martin Edmonds still have 14 minutes to try and put each other in the wall.
It's true. In the meantime, Alex Loeffler has gotten past John Barker and is solidly in the top 10 for the first time in this race. And is on the tail of Ariel Zattoni. Up ahead of them is Pinky Mo, whose car is a lap down and missing a headlight, I do note. So at some point, some contact for Academy driver Pinky Mo. see if Loeffler can climb a little bit higher, because Loeffler has had a bit of a bizarre race, if I'm being honest. It's been kind of uninspiring. But if he can take Zatoni and take home an 8th place or a 9th place finish, it's going to help him a lot in the championship hunt, because a couple of key figures in the championship hunt are missing. And of course, those who are unaware, this is a 4-race series, so missing one is pretty damn key. Attendance is of paramount interest, and taking advantage of what you can. Montoya's in the pit lane. The gap is closing. We're going to figure out where he comes out. Machuca under pressure from Edmonds. We think Machuca will easily overtake him. We think Edmonds will overtake him. Can Andy Blade? And of course, the other question, can Martin Lauer? Has he maybe undercut the Spanish racer? There goes Machuca. There goes Edmonds. Andy Blade is next in line. It looks like he's going to get out ahead of Andy Blade. Maybe. Yes, he will.
I think he'll lose that one, but he'll definitely
Blade
stay
is
ahead
out.
of Lauer.
Yeah. So it's worked out for him a little bit. Lauer's ended up about almost 3 seconds behind Montoya off of the pit stop exchange. The MSN Odin Kirchen 2012 team taking 5th place at the moment, and also 3rd place because Martin Edmonds is racing the same car. Speaking of Martin Edmonds, he's facing off against Fran Machuca, trying to get back into 2nd place. So the second stint of this race has gone very well for Edmonds. We were talking earlier about how he had lost ground to Machuca, but he's definitely coming back at him. Mike Stoffmill now with a 43.5-second lead.
I was about to ask if that's real. Because I don't remember the gap being that big.
That is the actual gap. The pit stops are done with.
We need to recruit some more aliens so Stoffmill can have some fun.
Take us to your fastest driver.
I just feel that in this hour-and-a-half race, he hasn't had the excitement that everyone else in the field has had.
Not really. His biggest excitement, I guess, was when he caught up to Lauer and Montoya. And we were saying he probably shouldn't attack them, but we also probably didn't really account for the fact that he was probably bored.
Very true.
He was probably having a moment of like, oh my god, there are cars ahead of me! Alex Loeffler putting the pressure on Ariel Zattoni, trying to find a way around. Loeffler's kind of come alive at the end of this race. A man who hasn't really seemed to quite have the pace, suddenly has found some pace, and the man who's definitely found no pace at the moment is John Barker, who's dropping like a stone off of this spout. Back out in front, Martin Lauer has closed up the gap to Montoya to about a half second. And we were talking earlier if he should go for the attack or make that pit stop. He made the pit stop. Doesn't look like the pit stop worked out for him because he wound up further behind. Or Montoya maybe just put it a great in-lap. Now he's got no choice. He's kind of got to go for it if he wants a top 5.
I feel that in hindsight, he probably should have just attacked the pit stop.
It's a good call. Headlight flashing from Montoya, as is his signature maneuver. His signature defensive maneuver, flash the headlights.
I'm glad we went to it. I was about to say the gap is gone from 2nd to 3rd. I think this is going to be a good one for the end here.
Martin is all over the back end of Fran Machuca. We've got 9.5 minutes to go. The question is, that everyone wants to know is, can Mike Stoffmill build a 50-second gap?
Yes.
It is a bit of a shame. I think Mike Stoffmill came to ESR a little bit at the wrong time to have some great battles, because a couple of other aliens are otherwise a little bit indisposed right now. Darcy Parkinson not been terribly regular on the grid. Caleb Gonzalez, we haven't seen Brody Steen in a while. I mean, these are the guys who could probably take the fight to him if they were on the grid with him, but it's not the case right now. Jason Mons, another guy that comes to mind. Shout out to Jason Mons if he happens to watch the video. We miss you.
I don't. I'm a very good shot.
And can Edmonds get the job done? The answer is, for now, no. Can Lauer get the job done? Don't think that he can. He's on the outside here, and I think that that's just a good defensive line there being taken by Montoya. Oh! Very close. Very close, and the battle continues. Lauer briefly getting a nose ahead, but I think that's going to go back to Montoya for the time being.
Does a nice job on the undercut. Doesn't look like he's going to get the momentum, though.
Indeed, indeed. Also still got a good fight going on between Loeffler and Zatoni further back. I would say that those three battles, the battle for second, the battle for fifth, and the battle for ninth, will probably dominate our remaining coverage.
You're saying that no one's going to make a sudden lunge out of the pit lane and take over first?
Nope.
Well.
Like, it has to be pointed out that we're getting to the point where Mike Stoffield might be able to make a second pit stop and retain the lead.
I was making jokes about him making a pit stop every, 15-second gap he creates. Might be an interesting challenge.
There is supposedly ballast coming soon, so that'll be interesting. Speaking of which, Pinky Mo in the pits again, so making a second pit stop. For a second there, I thought that was Stop Mill trying to give himself a challenge.
That boy hard on cars.
Martin Lauer putting the pressure on. Looking for that fifth place. He would like to get past the debutante, Montoya. In fact, actually, both of these guys are debutantes, so they're kind of fighting for the Enduro rookie win here. And Martin Edmonds looking to go down the inside of Fran Machuca. Pinky Mo coming out of the pits at a very inopportune time. And Martin's got him. But the inside is open. Can Machuca take it back? Oh, a little contact. A little bang.
I like it.
Also got to wonder how much Martin Edmonds really wants to risk here, because he is going to be the championship leader. He entered today even on points with Felipe Fajea, who is not here, and his third place or a second place would put him well in the lead. But how much do you risk that Machuca might just give you the punt on an overtake at some point here?
Well, I think if you really want to win, you got to risk everything. You got to put the pedal to the metal, and you got to get that horsepower in there. You got to turn right good and do the thing.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, boy.
Wisdom from Byron Dirksen,
Oh.
NASCAR specialist.
What you got to do is put 2 bricks on that gas pedal, and you tie that steering wheel at a 42 1/2 degree angle, and you just jump out and let it go.
Saves weight.
Saves weight, and it goes around an oval. Perfect.
Alex Laughlin looking down the inside of Ariel Zatoni. Here he goes. I think he's got it. Tony shoved out a little bit wide there, and Loeffler up in 9th place. He's been the star of the second half of this race, just kind of picking things up. Doing a really, really good job. He was the guy who came into the pits first and may have capitalized on that. Fran Machuca looking for a way back past Martin Edmonds. Not open at the moment as we go through Canada Corner. How dare a Spaniard try to overtake Canadian in Canada Corner?
Put him on the wall.
Speaking of Canada Corner, we're heading into Canada Corner with Martin Lauer and the other Spaniard. Can Martin make the move around the outside? I don't think that is going to happen, and it doesn't.
Well played.
We're down to 4 1/4 minutes left. That could be 2 or 3 laps, depending on how much time was left when Mike Stockmill went through the finish line. Machuca looking to make the move and can't quite yet. Andy Blade there in the background going, guys, I was in second place. What happened?
Well, he drank too much, and then he put himself in the pit lane 5 or 6 times, and then didn't remember that he already changed the tires, and then he lost.
Do you feel that Andy Blade should swap his car for a brown color?
I believe he should get a rust-colored color.
Hmm.
Or maybe chrome.
Hmm. Need to find a nice knife company to stick on the side of his cars.
Well, just get him rocking the Remington Razor Company car.
That's true. Bit of a move there by Ariel Zatoni. Can he hold it against Alex Loeffler for 9th place? Looks like the answer is yes.
No. Maybe.
The answer is definitely yes, Mark.
I'd like to point out the fact that John Peach is only 3 laps behind. He can totally make this.
He's 3 laps behind Richard DeRoche.
Whoa.
It's much more when you figure out the leader.
I suppose.
Mike Stockbill coming across the line here to complete a lap. There will be 2 more laps because he will finish 2 more. He will finish another lap before the time runs out. So 2 laps plus the current one for everybody but Mike Stockmill, who is down to just 2 laps remaining. Further back, it should be mentioned John Barker is coming back into play in that fight for 9th due to the fact that Ariel Zatoni and Loeffler have been fighting so, spiritedly. So it's got to be a smile on the face of John Barker, as he may be able to pick up 2 spots here. Martin Lauer back on the attack at Canada corner against Ismael Montoya. Hasn't found a way around yet. And the guy who's really benefiting off this is Gerardo Delvea, who's right in the background now. Lauer's got the inside line, and he's got, for the time being, 5th place. But we saw him get by before, and Montoya come back at him. Can he do it again? And can this door open for Gerardo Delvea and maybe Eric Friesen, who's even not that far behind, as these two continue to struggle over 5th place?
Well, I feel their struggle would be a whole lot less if they just drive faster.
I mean, that's the problem, though, is when you're fighting, you generally are not taking optimal lines. In fact, there goes Montoya slashing back across Lauer's path and retaking 5th position. Lauer looks like he's setting up for a move here, but there's not really much of a move into that turn, and then you're also ceding the inside line for the actual overtaking opportunity here at this tight turn here. And Delvea is on the charge. He smells blood in the water like a great white shark.
Actually, that is barbecue sauce.
Same thing to a shark.
Common misconception.
Lauer going down the inside. He's got it done for now. Actually, he's not a great white shark. He's a Baja black shark, which is that theoretical megalodon they got down there in Mexico.
I don't think that's a real thing, but okay.
That's it.
They definitely got some big-ass Humboldt squid, though, so... I mean, don't fuck around with those.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Black Devil, but there are a lot of Mexicans who do that. It's a megalodon down there.
Diablo Negro.
Oh, Lauer goes up wide.
Firmly in the battle.
Delvea is absolutely licking his chops right now. He could find himself in the top 5. It seemed like the door was closed for Gerardo Delvea, but he's right back in it now. And Eric Friesen's not that far back. You can see him in the background there. They have got what? Oh, everybody is off. Delvea and Lauer are off. Montoya has probably guaranteed himself 5th place off of that. Zatoni is putting the pressure on Loeffler. John Barker's coming back into play on this whole battle as well. Maybe a classic example of maybe overfighting a little bit has brought some cars that we thought were dead back into the fight.
I'd like to point out that your boy Stuff Meal almost has a 49-second lead.
It's getting close. We were saying...
There it is!
Could he get it out to 50? He's got 1 lap to do it.
Yeah. That'll be
Gerardo Delvea is taking Ismael Montoya out of nowhere. Gerardo on the greatest last couple lap charge I've seen in a while. He may have a top 5 out of this race. Eric Friesen's right in the hunt as well. Here we go down the inside. Delvea has got 5th place for now. Montoya out wide. Lauer out wide. Friesen looking for a way around. This could be 4 wide.
I think it needs to be 17 wide.
Oh, it's not 17 cars left.
Well, that seems like somebody should be in charge of that.
Friesen has gotten past Lauer, so Eric Friesen randomly up in his 7th place now. Great racing towards the end here by Friesen and Delvea, showing that veteran gal. Maybe a little bit of over impatience with the two debutantes. Lauer can't get around Montoya there, but he does get around Friesen, retaking 7th place. Friesen back on the attack. Further back, it looks like Zittoni and Loeffler are still locked in a struggle. It is still a battle for 2nd place between Machuca and Edmonds as we're coming down to the finish here. Loeffler looking down the inside of Ariel Zittoni. Nothing going there, although Zittoni does run wide. That's going to compromise his run to the next turn. Martin Edmonds is on the pressure as well, looking to get around. By the way, your race winner is Mike Stockmill. He didn't quite get it out. He didn't quite get it out to 50 seconds.
Edmonds using the bumper.
Edmonds using the bumper in Canada corner. Can he get it done? He doesn't have a lot of time left. He's going down the inside. He's got the line towards the finish line. Here comes Martin Edmonds. He's in 2nd place. He just has to hold it through this straightaway. Can he get it done? It tucked up in the draft of Machuca. He's got to come out at some point to make the move. He does. Will it be Machuca? Will it be Evans? Here it goes to the finish. It is. Martin Edmonds takes 2nd place.
He cheated. Obviously cheated.
Andy Blade bringing it home in what is a comparatively boring 4th place. 5th place is going to go to Gerardo Delvea. Looks like Montoya's got 6, but Friesen has not given up yet. Lauer has fallen out of this battle and will finish in 8th place. In fact, Friesen is going to take it to the line. Both the Spaniards losing out of positions at the finish. Eric Friesen 7th, Eric Friesen 6th, Montoya 7th, Lauer in 8th place. Here comes across the line Ariel Zittoni. He's still got Alex Loeffler on his tail. Can he hold it? Looks like he will. Big celebration. Loeffler takes 10th place ahead of John Barker. James Butler, Dennis Meissner both down a lap, but finished the race. Top Academy honors to Mr. Butler. Pinky Mo rounding off your finishers in 14th position. And DNFs for Jorgen Walby, Sean Kenny, Jordan Alcolia, Dale Smith, Yevgeny Lazarenko, and Richard DeRoche. John Picha also, I think, missing from that group as he was 21st position in the first dropout. Pretty dramatic finish to the race, guys. What did you think?
I think that Josiah Jerome, apparently located currently in Texas and does not know what brisket is, needs to investigate that shit post haste. That's what I think.
Absolutely. Yourself, Travis.
Overall, great race. Great racing early, all the way up to the halfway point through the pit stops. Then it got a little spread out, but they definitely pulled the action back in there at the end. Very, very entertaining.
Fantastic race, and we have one more round left of the Enduro Cup. I'm going to quickly look up where that.
Do it.
And the answer is Spa-Francorchamps will feature the season finale.
Not Macau.
Not Macau.
God damn it.
We need to use that track more often.
Not Macau.
You goddamn people.
Not Macau. Actually, that's not the season finale. Apparently, we're going to be running more rounds. So I was under the misconception. We will be then going to Portimao, Moscow, Imola, Hockenheim, Silverstone, Race Room Raceway, and 2 undecided rounds in November and December. Get your votes in for Macau.
Portimao.
If I'm not mistaken,
shaped like a cat.
If I'm not mistaken, we're going to be switching up the cars also.
It looks like we're running the same cars throughout. The Audi TT RS VLNs are listed.
Then I don't know where I got that from.
Anyways, the championship lead after this falls to Martin Edmonds, who leads Andy Blade by 11 points. 4 points further back is Alex Loeffler, followed by John Barker and Gerardo Delvea. Edmonds is your Division 1 leader. Blade is your Division 2 leader. Your Division 3 leader, despite not scoring any points on this particular occasion, is John Picha, who is 9th overall. And, of course, Mike Stockmill, now tied with Taha Mali and Mr. C for 10th place. Those are the 3 guys who have actually won races, but unfortunately have not attended any of the other ones. We'll see you next time. I believe our next race for commentary will be the 0 round from Suzuka. Joe will unfortunately be absent for because of dental work. And I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to being a pure spectator for that race.
I don't understand how you guys keep mispronouncing Suzuki, but okay.
Suzuka, sir. Suzuka.
My point exactly.
It's owned by Honda.
Well, they just fucking with Suzuki then. I get it.
That's totally what it is. Anyways, for Mike Magus, Byron Dirksen, and Travis Wallace, thank you for joining us through this commentary journey.
Get out.